Pounders, we are back and we're drafting a BBM 4 again. This is number 48. So we're on pace and we're going to be joined with us by an absolute legend, a shadow to many. You've seen him probably at the top of the leaderboards. He's scooping your rake. NF42 Nick, what's going on, my man? Welcome to the live stream.
What's up? Happy to be here. Thanks for letting me come on. How are you doing?
Friend of the show, active in the Discord, fellow pick'em thought leader in the Discord. Golf is a mean sport.
My pick'em's no good. Yeah, they've been pretty bad. I was on some tennis and I had one guy and he just completely swept the floor of them. And ended up like winning 7-6-6, so it didn't get to 20 games. It was just an unfortunate miss by just one game.
So what's your favorite sport because you do all sports for Battle Royales on Underdog? What's the one that gives you the most success?
No, football and NBA. But NBA I just started getting into. I really wasn't into it last year. Baseball, I stay in my own lane, and golf, I do a couple here and there, but never really make it too far in any of those contests. I'd say
Love
NFL,
that. Love that. Hell yeah. ER7, welcome to the live stream. Fancy, dysfunctional, peanut butter and waivers always showing up. Love you guys. ER7 says, what are the chances CH is the starting running back? I mean, since they didn't exercise the fifth option on CEH, it just seems like they're phasing him out, right? They re-signed Jerick McKinnon, sort of that red zone guy.
Yeah, even the rookie they drafted, they're comparing to a lot of like Pacheco. Prince, I think is his last name.
Mm-hmm.
And so they seem to utilize Pacheco last year, and they liked how, he ran the ball. So if they're bringing in another guy that can do what Pacheco does, I don't have too much of CEH stock myself.
Yeah. And we're all taking shots at those running backs at the end. I think that's where the highest upside is, but also quarterbacks, right? Like if one of those offenses like Atlanta, if the Patriots, you're getting these QBs at an extreme discount. And if you're pairing it with the receivers, that's how you make these big hits when you're betting on an offense as a whole, especially when it's a discounted offense, if they can have a bounce back year. I'd even say Dallas with Dak, like if he could have a bounce back year from last year, if we pull it up, let's go into the cipher here.
I think what people are thinking when they draft Clyde is that they're holding on to what Clyde had shown like 2 years ago. And they may have like some comfort in that like, okay, he was good during those times, but I think it's, you got to eventually move on from certain players. It's kind of like when people were like, couldn't let go of like Josh Gordon for like the longest time.
Oh my God.
He's back. He's back every year. So I don't think you want to get like roped into that, but he's the last 2-round guy. So, I mean, if you're missing out on that pick, then you're not really losing as much.
Right. Now, he did have a couple games where he had spike weeks last year, but then the injury, and then he came back and they still weren't using him.
Like the first few games.
Yeah, they were still but they were still phasing him out for Pacheco. And that buzz actually started deep into the offseason last year where it was like, hey, Pacheco might actually be the guy. And everyone's like, oh, well, our shares are extremely low. Like if he's the guy, I'm screwed sort of thing. I was mixing him in. I think I ended up with like 5%. But CH, not someone I'm really interested at the end of the drafts here.
Yeah, I mean, take a shot on like a guy like Michael Carter, who is RB2, and he's like one injury away from getting a lot of work for the Jets, right? If Breece Hall is slow to start, or if something happens to him, I mean, Michael Carter seems like a better play in my opinion than a guy that's third on the depth chart right now.
I would have Michael Carter above CH. I'm still not clicking Michael Carter a whole ton because even when Breece Hall went down, they're splitting the backfield with Zonovan Knight, and Zonovan Knight's still there, and then they bring in Israel Banaconda. So,
what about, I don't know if you like James Robinson as a Patriot fan, but I mean, he has a ton of incentives in his contract.
Yeah.
For him to at least if he even makes the roster. Now they're saying that he may be a cut. But I
Right.
mean, I
Yeah.
looked at his incentives for his contract, and it seemed like, okay, well, if they're giving him incentives, then they might want to see him on the field.
Cut candidate for sure. And if that happens, like Pierre Strong, who's not really being drafted, is
Yeah,
a
who
good
everybody
pick.
was drafting in like the big board.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
in the first
Exactly.
contest, Pierre Strong was going like in like the 17th rounds.
Yeah. At one point.
Now he's not being
Yep.
touched.
But James Robinson, I've been mixing him in on teams that I have a lot of rookies. If he does end up winning that backup role, someone
Yeah.
that will, at least get maybe 7 touches a game on average, get you a few points. Joshua Kelly, not a skilled running back, but someone has to back up Eckler. I like Joshua Kelly a lot. I think he provides some of the most upside. Dwayne McBride or Ty Chandler. Do you have a preference between these two?
I think you go either way, but I have been drafting more McBride.
Yeah.
It's tough to say. Like Ty Chandler came out of North Carolina, I think, and I think he was actually drafted ahead of McBride. Like he was a 5th round guy for them, and McBride was, I think, 7th round, right?
Yep.
So draft capital indicates Ty Chandler, but then like just looking at how McBride played in college, he just seems like he's better. Like I just have a better vibe for him. But there are also like different profiles. Like Ty Chandler is more of a lightning guy, and McBride more of a thunder guy, which I guess Madison would fit more of McBride's role. So I don't know.
I've been
I
kind
do
of
like
rolling that way
Madison
too
for his
towards
stats.
McBride.
I mean, if you look at his college numbers and like his yards after after a break, like he's like right up there. I think they said with some like the better running backs.
Yeah. Yep. McBride, and he's free right now. He was a 20th rounder on the big board, and we had a good amount scooped of McBride. So we did like him as a rookie coming in, even before the landing spot. And it's all but done right now with Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. I still think there's a chance that they don't release him right away. They lower his market just going deeper into the offseason where teams start to spend the rest of their free agency money, the rest of their budget. And now he doesn't have a lot of teams to go to. I think they could bribe him to stay if they sort of do that. I think Dalvin Cook gives Minnesota the best chance to win. That's my opinion. I never liked Madison as a runner. He's not very athletic as well, but he can catch the ball. He can do some of the third down work as well. So that's from fantasy football standpoint. I get why people like him, but
I think Minnesota's pretty much past that point with keeping him the way things look.
I know.
It is going to be interesting to see where he goes and like how that will affect his ADP. I don't know. Like his ADP seems fine as it is now, but it could obviously shift just depending on where he lands. Because right now we're just all assuming things. But like if he was on Dallas, does his ADP stay the same? I mean, you still think Tony Pollard is the guy there, but they'll obviously involve Cook.
Yeah. No, that would definitely affect Pollard. No doubt. Cook. This is a great range for him if he's going to Dallas. I think he might move up a little bit. I don't know if he'll surpass Pierce. I could see him getting close to this ADP.
So you think he actually would move up, even depending on what team he goes to?
Dallas. Yeah, I think he takes over the red zone role, and Dallas is going to be in the red zone enough that he'll be able to get his 10 touchdowns. Pierce is another one where like I don't really love the click just because Devin Singletary. When I think about value and ADPs, you can get Singletary 80 picks later. Houston has a strong offensive line, so I see the push for Pierce. I just don't love either one as a runner, really.
Yeah, and I don't like that offense either too much. Plus, they're playing the Titans in the playoffs, and
Twice.
I'm pretty sure Tennessee was like the best defense against like the run. They gave up the least amount of yards to running backs last year, so it's not a very good situation if you're thinking about playoffs either.
Right. Love that. All right, let's jump right into a BBM. Let's see how many you can jump into if you want.
What do we got? 7?
Waiting on 7, so you got time.
Let's see. Didn't get in.
And let me pull up.
I mean, I do like if Cook went to, let's say, like Miami, I would love that situation for him. I mean, it would suck for me because my Mostert stock's like through the roof.
Mostert, Jeff Wilson, A-Chain.
All those
It
guys
would
take a
hurt
huge
all
hit.
three. All three. Easter Bunny, we are live. We are in a BBM now, waiting on 6. Did it fill? Oh, it filled fast.
Yeah,
Oh, we get the influencer 101. It's about time for BBMs. It's about time.
I'm happy I didn't get in them because I'm very comfortable picking from. You got the 101?
Yes.
Yeah, I love this pick a lot, but I think I know where you're gonna go. So I'm not gonna influence you in one of these two.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm actually gonna pull up my shares of Chase and Justin Jefferson for BBM. Let's go to exposure and let's go to Jefferson for $25 tournaments. We're at 6.7%, and Chase we're at 8.9. So
Well, I would say go with Jefferson just to smooth it out. But hey, if you really believe in Chase, you go with Chase.
I don't mind having them smoothed out. Do you think that there's a chance Chase surpasses Jefferson
In what sense?
in ADP?
In ADP? Probably not. But
yeah, it's not
very
even close.
It's very close. There's no right or wrong. I think when we were drafting way earlier in the season when it first opened up and before we got the playoff, schedules, obviously Jefferson was way ahead. But now it's the Chase's playoff schedule. He's fine to go 101.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no doubt. Like Minnesota has a juicy schedule. I like Cup at the 3 spot. Cam is a pounder. Who else is in here? Humble Legend, Brian, ER7, and Farachi on the back end here. All in the chat. Let me know if I didn't call your name out.
See, I'm still going CMC as 303 for me, and then
interesting.
Tyreek. I'm rotating with the 4 and 5 picks, but
I'm mixing CMC in 4, and I'm selecting him every time at 5. But
yeah, you don't want to go past 5. There's such a drop off after the 5 slot, in my opinion. I mean,
yes,
before the first round,
I agree.
But that would definitely be the cutoff.
So CMC at 5, you're lucky if Waddle makes it to you, basically, for your wide receiver 1. Do you feel the need? Like one of these has to be a receiver, 20 or 29. So if you go another elite running back, or if you go one of the
I like
3,
mixing it up. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm all over Chubb right now. But like I do mix it up between if I'm gonna take an RB2, if Chubb's on the board, that's who I'm looking at over like Saquon, close to JT. But receivers, I like mixing it up. Waddle, I think, is definitely ahead of Olave and Smith and Higgins. But
I love this. Thoughts on Laviska Shenault, last round pick?
He's just getting some hype recently. They're comparing him to Debo, which is crazy. I don't know where that is coming from.
Come on.
You're not getting Debo from this guy.
Come on. We've seen flashes, right? He could be a best ball guy, but it's just the consistency factor.
This is the same guy they kind of hype up every year too.
Every year. Yeah, he's a gadget guy that can really break for a long play, but just seems like he's never used in the correct system, right? No one can really get the full amount out of him.
Right.
We see a double tap at running back here at the 12 spot.
Carolina is going to have to figure some things out with that receiver room. I mean, it's all new guys, so it's so hard to say like who's going to be the guy there. I mean, you got a rookie, you have 2 guys that are new, Thielen and DJ Chark. And now you have him. So hard. It's really hard to say which.
It's busy.
I wouldn't put my money on him, but hey, last round, why not? Maybe if you have a stack, go for it.
If you somehow missed all the other Carolina stacks available, maybe you go Shenault for a little bit of correlation.
Sure.
I think it's interesting for maybe tournaments that fill faster, but I think we can wait for more news before we start just blindly drafting him in BBM.
Quite yet. And I do some crazy things with my money, but
Amon-Ra St. Brown at 17 is always nice.
Wow.
That's like early big board
A lot
ADP
of
when he was
that.
at like 20, and I had 24% Amon-Ra.
Yeah, that's an easy decision.
JJ might blow this year without Cook to stabilize the offense. I don't know. They're going to be moving the ball. This is a team that really, they ran the ball the 5th least amount of times rushing attempts last season. So they add another offensive weapon in Addison. They're going to be moving the ball, and they're going to be passing a lot.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I've been
get much
moving
better than that.
Madison kind of high when I'm drafting around his range. I've been kind of jumping him ahead of ADP.
Okay.
But
are you
those are
just
kind of
doing it for
guys
like
I
the
think you
closing
have to,
line
right?
value?
What's that?
Are you doing it for the closing line value? You just
Yeah,
think he's
pretty
going to be
much.
a
I mean,
riser?
I'm taking him not like extremely ahead, but like if it's in the same round, right? What is he at, 80 something right now? So
yeah, 86. 77. Damn,
37 now.
he's
So I
already
mean, yeah, if
rising.
I'm at 73, 74, I'll jump on him. It's a couple picks. Well, we got both quarterbacks here.
Yeah, I don't mind mixing in Mahomes. Some of that spreads the ball. He could literally finish as QB number 1 and not elevate a single one of his receivers.
Right.
I would like Higgins here for the little KC Cincy stack, but we don't have that. I'm basically like this.
I go Henry. Only because he's playing the Texans 2 games in the
Twice.
playoffs. So it's like he's gonna smash one of those games if he's healthy, right? I don't see like another running back that offers that like 30+ point upside those 2 games.
And interesting enough, they were actually getting him targets last season. Like his targets went up sneakily. Ended up with 33 catches last year.
He's King Henry.
Get the guy the ball in space. Yeah. Houston was
Did you ever
one
pull
of
up
the
his high
worst.
school stats?
Oh, absolutely sick. Absolutely
he had
sick.
like 50 touchdowns and like 1,000,000 yards.
He's the kid where it's like, there's no way he's 16.
High school football, I can't imagine playing against him in high school.
No, you just get out of the way.
Yeah.
If you're smart.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he's playing Houston twice. He's always where most running backs are like sort of worn out by the end of the season. This is when he's warming up. So we'll see if he can do it again this year. Tajay Spears, they draft in the 3rd round.
Yeah. But he's got some injury prone issues himself. I mean, he could be a gadget guy for them for sure, but I mean, he's not taking away 1st and 2nd down work from Henry by any means.
No. Yeah, no chance.
Yeah.
I think Tajay's value obviously lies with the Henry injury, but there's also potential that he's traded right before the deadline to a team that is in the playoff hunt.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't even see too much Tannehill coming off drafts anymore. Like
I love Tannehill as a last round pick.
Yeah, but I never see him getting drafted. And he's still the starter, right?
Yeah. If we go back on my Twitter machine and we pull up my Tannehill fanboy tweet, when he was rushing the ball, not last year because of injury, but the year before, like 7 rushing touchdowns. And it wasn't a fluke. He did this basically same exact stat line the year before with 7 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
So that upside is there. This team's going to run the ball. If they run the ball with Henry, they're going to win games. They control the clock. And maybe we see a world where Tannehill and Levis play, but maybe Levis does worse than Tannehill and Tannehill goes back in. I think that's completely reasonable to see. And he's free. He's 18th round guy.
Yeah.
Basically going back to back with Levis.
Like I can't even say if I have any Tannehill exposure in BBM yet. I'm not even sure.
I'm taking Tannehill over Baker Mayfield.
I would be doing that as well.
Yeah, they're back to back for QBs. We're seeing Mark Andrews fall to 38.
I had zero Tannehill in BBM4, so I might have to make a couple drafts. I have 30 left.
And he could be a riser. I already saw a clip of Malik Davis and Tannehill working. They're doing some foot drills, and at the end, they throw at a net that has like a square cutout for the football. And Malik Davis hits the square. Ryan Tannehill throws just above, accurate pass. Levis goes and misses the whole net. Misses the whole entire net. It's like, and it's funny how those little clips from OTAs and preseason can affect ADPs,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's instant. Like the Justin Ross hype, one catch from Mahomes, not
Well, it's
even
not even
not
that
even
too.
in
I mean, it's
pads.
Mahomes has also been talking about him, you know.
Yeah,
So
he did that
Mahomes,
last year. He did that last year.
yeah, yeah. I do like him, but I like him from an athletic profile, and obviously that Mahomes throws him the ball. So I like taking shots on guys like that.
Mm-hmm. Spike week guy
Yeah,
potential, but can he get on the field behind Rice
yeah. That's
or
where he's
MVS
gonna
will
have to
be?
put in some work.
This is a nice start.
I do
I
like
like
your
this
start though. I
fucking
like
start.
going with a elite quarterback. You have an elite running back. You have elite
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. Maybe you get Hawkinson, so you have an elite tight end.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty balanced, build.
This is why the one spot's so strong too, because you're ending up with potentially, most likely, top 2 receiver, top 2 QB, and you're picking at
Well,
24.
I like
And
1 and
now,
12 because sometimes you really don't have to think. Like the picks literally come to you, and it's like,
mhm,
here you go, take
yep,
these guys.
yeah, 80
You don't have
ADP
to redraft,
value.
mess things up.
Let's see
Watson
what
or Judy coming to you would be
I would.
beautiful. I mean,
Yeah, I would
both
love
those
that.
receivers are awesome, but I don't think this guy lets you get either of them.
No, I'd be surprised if Judy falls to us. Uh, I'm
Nice. So you
I'm
go both these guys. I think I would rather Judy and Mike Williams, if I'm being honest. But
probably gonna go Hawkinson just for the Justin Jefferson stack.
yeah. And then do you plan on bringing back Cousins because you have Mahomes?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Uh, what's gonna be more different though?
Mike
Probably
Williams,
Mike probably Mike Williams.
100%. That's why when I draft a lot of times, I also like to think about like that what you're saying. Like,
Mhm.
I want to have a unique team that some people are not going to bring to finals.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden,
Hawkinson
you're going
just
to be really
falls right at
good.
the ADP, obviously
Yeah.
in line with
And
Justin
Hawkinson's been
Jefferson.
falling. It's crazy. I've been in so many drafts, mostly puppies, but he's going to like 60. I don't get it.
Yeah.
People are pushing him.
Hawkinson, I the ADPs, it's in the range of like Pittman and some of these unknown receivers like Chris Godwin in Tampa Bay, who might have Baker, like not a great situation.
No.
Um, does it scare you bringing in Addison, another target to Minnesota, or they're just so pass heavy that he's going to get his
With who? Hawkinson?
with the Hawk? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not nervous about that at all. I mean, they play different positions anyway, so it's like his the route tree is going to be different in terms of that aspect. And I think Kirk obviously trusts Hawkinson. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right?
Dude, that first game they played, they already had a connection. So,
If anything, I'm more worried about Addison just because he's a rookie. Like he's not proven yet.
mhm.
It would be the opposite for me.
Chase as the only receiver for this team. We have another team with only one receiver in DK. Some interesting starts from the badgeless crew in the draft. Brian brings in JSN at 56 over Ayuk. I'm currently Ayuk over JSN for personal preference, but maybe
That's a
he's trying
tough
to.
one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, Ayuk's wide receiver 2 at the moment. JSN wide receiver 2/3 because of Lockett.
Mm-hmm.
Ayuk just had a great year, 1,000 yards. So I think that I would trust Ayuk at the moment a little bit more, but JSN's a freak.
Yeah. JSN should be a nice little security blanket. They're going to have him play slot, most likely, right?
Yeah, he'll be a slot guy. But I could see, like when you think about the guys that were rookies when they broke out like Jefferson and Chase, these guys, JSN's going to be just like that, in my opinion. Like, it's in the realm of possibility that he could be like the next group of these, Jefferson Chase guys, if he's healthy. I mean, he is just a freak. I mean, he put up more yards than Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave did his sophomore year at Ohio State. He had more yards than both of them. He had like 1,600, yards, and neither of them were even close. So
there were injuries though, right? I think there were injuries, so he was seeing more time.
Those two guys.
But yeah, no, he's a great prospect. Little busy of an offense. I think the biggest winner in Seattle is Geno, and his ADP I think is a little too low.
Yeah, I agree.
I like scooping Geno.
Yeah, give me a quarterback that has 3 weapons, like elite weapons.
Yeah, nuts. A pass catching tight end, even a Noah Fant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan.
Geno and Tua are 2 QBs I think are just, if I was playing cash games, I would be hitting that range for QB all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially at their value, probably, for that week.
You see Ayuk fall to 65.
Wow. I think this guy also got. Can you pull up his team with Ayuk?
Dude, Brian's crushing it right now.
Oh my God.
He's got the double in San Fran. Whoa. I hope he hits the running back. Like, this tier for running backs is really nice.
Yeah, it's hard to salvage your team. You put yourself in a great spot with those receiver group, but then you bring it back and you have to hope you're hitting the right first 2 running backs.
True. And then you're hoping that either running back falls for value or QB, maybe Goff falls, Geno or Purdy with the San Fran double. I'm on the Purdy train right now. I'm fully Purdy over Lance. I was mixing
so. I mean, all the reports, they seem to be back in Purdy, right?
That's the way it looks. That's the way it seems. They keep backing him as well, saying he's a leader in the clubhouse and all that. Yep. So sort of follow the signs. Burks off the board.
No Tony here to stack with Mahomes?
Yeah. Let's do a little double tap here.
And you don't like Goddard for tight end 1? Well, I think we should debate it, at least.
Okay.
I do like Dotson.
Dotson is playing San Fran. Philly is playing Arizona.
Does your team improve by having Dotson? You have these 4 receivers now. I feel like Goddard's a smash against the Cardinals playoffs.
I see what you're saying. You like to fill out your flex, and then once the flex is filled, you sort of deviate to another position just to make
I also like if Goddard wasn't there, I like going Pacheco because it gives me more correlation with Mahomes, and you need an RB2, right? But
I do like to hit on excuse me.
Get McKinnon later on.
I do like to hit on this range for receiver too, because I have a real big tier drop off after Cooks. You might be able to circle Bateman in there. It's just going to depend on his health. But I like what we have going here so far. We have the Judy Chargers week 17. We have Mahomes and Tony. We might be able to bring in like a Tyler Boyd.
I like that.
To tie that in a little bow. And let's see what pick number it is. 90, 96, and 97. Let's see what we got for running backs. Yeah. I like drafting running backs in this range. Who's there for QBs? We'd have to reach up a little bit if we really wanted Kirk.
Not a big deal. You have Mahomes, right? So is like Kirk really moving the needle for you? And how many weeks is he going to outscore Mahomes besides the bye week?
If we did the double with Hawk, I would consider going Kirk Cousins and just saying maybe Mahomes has a bad week 16, like 17 points, and you advance like a low advance rate Mahomes.
Yeah.
But since we don't have that double, again, that's going to be chalky from the 1 spot.
I also think a lot of teams from the 1 spot get those Jefferson, Hawkinson, potentially Mahomes stacks, and they do probably pair it up with Kirk. So you're probably going to be like, you're going to have a like lineup that's been like, duped how many times.
Right. Still one running back. We'll see who falls back to us. We see the board just pissing yellow at the end here.
Elijah Moore is interesting. I mean, I know they were hyping him up in OTAs, but if they bring in D-Hop,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that
That's a lot
crushes.
of volume, target volume that he's gonna unfortunately not be getting.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean,
That
Njoku.
was my problem with D-Hop on any team. I mean, he's gonna demand like a minimum of 100 targets that year, and that's 100 less targets that goes to everybody else.
Is there a chance he still ends up in KC or Buffalo, or is it still?
I haven't heard anything, but it doesn't sound like it.
Oh, they were in talks. I think he's going to want a fat contract. We'll see. If he follows the money, he's not going to end up in Buffalo. He's not going to end up in KC. But it looks like they're still in the hunt. Pacheco goes at 89.
Pacheco, oh my god, and the team that's just been scooping up value gets him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I wish I was.
Brian's crushing this draft from the 8
He gets
spot.
Pacheco at
Crushing.
ADP, which is exactly what you said to do, even though he went receiver before him. He pushed the limits, still got Pacheco.
Yep.
That is beautiful.
I like Watson right now as well. I think Watson's he's a good value, and he's just one of those guys. If he does get Hopkins,
with him as well.
No, he didn't end up getting D-Hop. He let D-Hop pass. I don't think he knew he wanted to go.
Well, he got Cooper
route
with him, so he got technically the first two receivers on the team.
Yeah.
Pending that news.
Yep. Yeah, and he's a riser, right? If Hopkins joins Cleveland, Deshaun Watson is
over Cooper, by the way.
You what?
I would move Hopkins over Cooper in ADP.
Yeah. Oh, same. Cooper would become just more volatile, which is okay in best ball, but not for 34. I think he would have to bump down like a full round to this Christian Watson range, even behind Judy, in my opinion. Connor goes. Definitely want Connor here. This team just needed to suck up another running back, huh? 4 wasn't enough. 1-5-2 build.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough team.
I'm cool with going Green Bay here for the Minnesota correlation.
Yep, Minnesota Viking game.
And anyone else stick out to you in this range that you have to have?
Who's up? Keep going up. Do you like JMO as like a 5th receiver on this team or no?
JMO works for this team. I think it works very well.
Could also, pull my arm on another RB and just take a shot at like James Cook.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel about him, but JMO is I feel like a good pick. One of those two guys I like.
I think JMO works really well in this team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sort of have to see it to believe it.
Kill it after he comes back, but
the problem I have with James Cook here is he goes in basically the same range in full point PPR on DK. It's like, would I rather my shares over on DK? And I do have, that's where I am grabbing James Cook because he's basically going same spot. So
where is he going?
He basically goes in the same ADP range in full point PPR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I do sort of hedge some of the players that I'm not drafting on Underdog just based on their ADPs on different sites. Same thing with Godwin. Like I'll grab Godwin on DK rather than Underdog.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This dude's got 4 running backs. This dude's got 4 running backs. This guy's got 5 running backs.
People got to start the breaks.
No wonder why we're not getting any value at running back here. But this is a great start. I like this start a lot.
Yeah, your receivers will be able to, obviously pull the weight for JMO to come back week 7. Then you'll have him for hopefully playoffs. I mean, he should crush it.
Yeah, JMO in this situation as your 5th receiver, I think makes a lot of sense. If he's your
Right.
4th receiver, I think you guys start talking about it. I'd probably want a little more draft capital than this before him with
Yeah.
Judy and Williams, but it's not impossible.
You like possibly pairing like I've done this in a few of my drafts where I get JMO and in the same situation where I have about like 4 receivers ahead of him, but I'll take like Marvin Jones as like one of my late picks just to kind of
Mhm.
make up for that time he's not playing. He's the receiver 2 without him there. He's probably not going to be relevant when he comes back, but he could pick up the
No, the
slack.
pick makes a lot of sense. Pick makes a lot of sense. Maybe on a team that I think we still have a good amount of capital where this team wouldn't
Doesn't
even
need it.
need a Marvin Jones. Let's see what we end up with
So maybe you
at
do that
running
with
back.
like JMO as your 3rd receiver, 4th receiver, and then you
Exactly.
pick up Marvin Jones to try and fill the gap when he's not playing.
Exactly. Chris, what's going on, my man? Fantasy Football Garage joined us on last night's live stream. Check out his YouTube, guys. Follow him on Twitter Machine. ER7 complaining about Brian scooping up all his value. It's the best. Get Charbonnet too at 104. I think that's a great pick as well.
Yeah.
Holy sh!
This
Now,
team could be going to the moon.
if he can bring in Gino here, I'd be very.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got
Yeah.
options, man. He's got Gino, he's got Goff, he's got
Mm-hmm.
obviously he's going to want Purdy probably because he's got both San Fran guys. So
Mm-hmm.
he's got 3 quarterbacks that are still potentially on the board for his stacks.
A late Sam Howell?
Or even a Sam Howell. Yeah, he's got tons of quarterbacks that he can just wait on.
We're seeing Gibson's ADP rise, and he sneakily rose about 35 picks since the big board. And I used to just be fully out on Brian Robinson until these two ADPs have become relatively close within 10 picks. Now I find myself sort of switching off. What's your thoughts on Brian Robinson
I go Brian
versus
Robinson over
Gibson?
Gibson, personally. I mean, the guy got shot and he's playing football. I mean, that's a football guy. That's the kind of guy I want.
No, he's a big locker room guy. The team loves him, and Gibson having that fumbling issue is not great for him. It's definitely not great.
I mean, I don't understand. Didn't Washington want to invest in Robinson? They gave him all the opportunities in the world. So
You can see, like, I can make an excuse for him very easily for last year why he didn't look as good as Gibson. I mean, Gibson wasn't shot 3 times in the leg and ass. So Boyd goes. That's all right. I don't necessarily actually Boyd would fit pretty nice with having another floor guy with JMO and with Kadarius Toney, who's a
I
spike
don't like
guy.
a lot of these receivers anymore going now, but I mean, you do have some backdoor Kansas City receivers if you want them. But
After Cam goes,
I will say there is a guy I think I like for your build because you do have 2 running backs, so I feel like you would like a running back that might spike in the early weeks.
I would have liked P. Ryan.
Jarek, it makes a lot of sense.
I don't mind double tapping RB here.
Yeah, me either. But you don't like Jamal possibly being like until Kamara news and Kamara comes back. I mean, you kind of like he could be a guy that jumps in, gets some points early in the season for you. You just like Mitchell.
I like Mitchell with just like the value of if there's a CMC injury, and even if there's not, like he has touchdown upside. He has goal line upside.
Yeah.
So I think that standalone, where at the end of the season, who's going to have more upside? Jamal Williams, who basically needs to be put at the 1 yard line or 2 yard line.
I'm worried about Jamal like down the stretch when Kamara comes back, because then it's a 3-headed monster, and I have no idea what's happening. But at the same time,
and Kendry Miller has more of a role at the end of the season.
I think Jamal is going to be locked in for a pretty sizable role early on in the year, and he could be a guy that gets you needed points to push your team maybe into a playoff contention.
Yeah,
not
I agree.
In playoffs, but like we'll get the points you needed, come playoff time, like to get you there.
I don't think this team needs touches for the early season, like AJ Dillon's pretty much guaranteed touches. Derrick Henry, this team's probably going to rely on him. You know, as we get further into the offseason, I will give you this. If Kendre Miller's knee continues to be a problem and he's not practicing still, Jamal Williams will be a riser. But man, there's a lot of unknowns with this backfield right now with Kamara not getting the suspension yet, Kendre Miller not practicing yet. There's a lot of question marks to be had. But guys, we're going to drop the bribe right now. If this video hits 50 likes, NF42 told me in secrecy he will start a new Twitter account. Come out of the shadows. Even if I have to run it.
I'm actually excited. I'm participating in the Scott Fish Bowl this year.
Awesome.
I won the Underdog contest to get myself like a golden ticket into it. So
Hell
I'll be
yeah.
playing with. I think I'm in like the Guinness bracket. It's like all different, basically foods.
Are you doing live draft or is it?
I'm doing
online?
slow draft. I'm not doing
Okay.
live. They do have live drafts you could sign up for, but I don't want to go into New York City and do that.
Yeah.
But there's like I could have drafted with like Field Yates. He's in one of the other
Cool,
brackets.
very cool.
That'd have been really cool, but he's in Fanta, so I don't support it.
Very cool.
But it is a super flex league, so and you get to choose where you pick from. So I decided to take 101.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to be 101, 102, or 103 and get one of those top 3 quarterbacks to have a chance.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Where would you
I always find
it's
tough in super flex, right? Because now
and it's third round reversal. So
that's what I was going to ask.
Round, okay. You get last pick in the you get the last pick in the third round. How does it work?
So it goes. You get the first pick.
Yeah, it doesn't
you get
snake.
The first pick here. You get the second pick at 24.
And then you get the last pick.
And then it goes back over here.
Yep, and then they pick first.
And then it's normal.
Yep, for the rest of the draft. So where would you pick if you had if you were picking in a super flex? You had the choice 1 through 12.
Is it best ball? What's the format?
Yep, pretty sure it's best ball. I don't believe we start a lineup. You just have your players played out.
I wouldn't mind like 9 or 10. I think you might be able to get some of those. You'll be able to double tap 2 QBs that if you project to have really good seasons, like Watson and Tua, if Tua can stay healthy, 2 QBs like that, I think would be interesting. And then you still get a top positional player. Like you might even be able to go like CMC because this is gonna be all QBs. Pretty much the first 5, 6 picks should be QBs.
Yeah, it won't be Jefferson until like 7.
So what's Watson? He's QB 9. I think that could be an interesting start. But yeah, it gives you a whole new advantage having Mahomes or just any of the top 3 really. But with the second round reversal,
just think like those 3 guys are going to be on one of the winning teams, in my opinion.
With the third round reversal, though, it makes it a lot more fair for the back end teams if they can hit on both of those QBs.
Right.
What's going on here on the board? It doesn't really matter. Like we're in the 1 spot. We don't really have to pay too much attention.
Where are we at? We're in a 1-4-5-1 build right now. Okay.
Yeah.
I like 1 tight end on the board. If you're thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a smash quarterback for Russell because it completes your Judy stack. You could even go you could go Russell and Greg and just get your Denver stacks going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't mind doing that. A little double tap here.
I personally would have went for, the tight end above Russell. But I think
for Chiggy, you like Chigs.
Yeah, but I think for the stack, it makes sense to go Greg. Are they close enough? Where
14 picks. Let's go with the value.
Yeah, change it up.
Yeah, let's go with the value. We do have the
Sometimes
single
it needs to be
stack,
an
which
equal
is
play
fine.
stack. Sometimes you like, does the stack really make a huge difference, right? Like long term, what's the better play here? I think you made the
Right.
right pick.
Right. It's still like we're getting Russ at a value of 12 picks. We're also pulling in Chiggy 15 picks ahead of ADP. So I do think there's some
Love that.
uniqueness to that as well.
Yeah. And people are pumping the brakes on Kincaid. Like
It's
he's
about
just
time.
slowly dropping again.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Now, I'm probably drafting Kincaid over Irv Smith.
Yeah, I think Kincaid's upside's higher than Irv Smith.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he has Burrow. Did he have Burrow on his team?
He did.
So he goes for stacks.
Yeah. I respect it. I respect the correlation.
But again, what we were just saying, sometimes I feel like it's almost an error to be like so focused on correlating when you have a player that's clearly better than the person you're stacking.
Yes. Single game upside ceiling. What is that for Kincaid versus Irv Smith? And Irv Smith is not new to the league. Kincaid is a player that Buffalo heavily targeted. They traded in front of Dallas because they were certain Dallas was going to scoop him in the draft. They traded in front of Dallas and scooped Kincaid ahead of Mayer, who was the better overall tight end, right? But Kincaid should be able to provide something more for this offense, who also needs really a wide receiver too, right? So I'm very interested for Kincaid. I think he should be going before Irv Smith, but definitely in that range.
Look, he's just falling and falling. He'll probably get scooped here.
By ER7, like should be. Oh, he doesn't. Didn't have a tight end too. I think that's interesting. Kincaid goes as a third tight end here. I'm fine with that because the price you pay is
why not?
3 rounds less.
Stop your tight end room now. He had picks, so I probably wouldn't have made that pick, but you definitely can stop now. See, now this is where the drafts get fun because now it's like a lot of these players are, in my opinion, are just going to be like hard to say,
Knox starting tight end for the Bills, though. Honestly, I love Knox at his ADP.
Yeah,
we're talking about
God.
A guy that has touchdown upside.
Let me check my Knox exposure. My Knox exposure in BBM4 is 26.7%.
Yeah, it's high. It's very.
I smash him every time he's in that range because it's like Buffalo Bills tight end 1. He's technically still the tight end 1 in my books until Kincaid takes over. So I'm taking him everywhere.
It's half point PPR. We're talking about like the 15th round for this guy, for Knox on Buffalo. They didn't add a receiver in the draft.
Even if Kincaid does what he's supposed to do, I think Knox still gets 400 plus yards. And then in the playoffs, there's a good chance that he could have 2 touchdowns. Like it wouldn't surprise me if he gets 2 touchdowns from Josh Allen in a playoff game.
Yes. That's his upside right there. That's his single game ceiling is a 2 touchdown game.
Right. And that could be in the playoffs, which you're taking him 100%. Almost like free.
100%. That's where we started to see his usage go up was at the end of the season last year. We see Tyquan go off the board at 160.
Yeah, Tyquan's moving fast.
One of our favorite picks from the big board.
You need to start taking him now because he's just exploding on ADP boards.
Rams, this is an offense that if they get it back together, they don't have to go back to 2021. But if they find some middle ground here, if Stafford can get on like a 3,400 passing yard season where these players are going, besides Kupp, could be very good for the offense. Higbee, Van Jeffy, even mix it in a little 2-2 Atwell.
Yeah, I like Stafford with Puka late round. Puka for sure.
Shaheed off the board, most drafted receiver. See, this is why I'm glad we double tapped running back because I do think it drops off in this range. I'd rather just sort of skip this range here. Like Wilson, Ford's getting more expensive at 172.
Yeah, but I still like him in that range because I like him over all these running backs anyway. But the receivers on the board for me are better than Ford.
Let's see who comes back to us.
I mean, if you get Reed,
192.
that'd be great. I see who I'd be picking if I was in your spot, but I don't think you're going to be lucky enough to snag him.
No, this range is. Yeah, and he had the love correlation too.
Oh yeah, wasn't going to make it to you.
Jeff Wilson off the board. It's funny. This used to be so free. Like this was a free range to
MVS just because.
Literally, you said it perfectly. MVS just because. He's not a sexy pick. He didn't really even show like 2 touchdowns last year is very poor, but he's still on KC. He's still gonna have a role.
Now I would be going for Jermaine Ford here. Just I don't mind paying that price, but
Ford, yeah, any of these 3 really.
I'm good. I'm good with any of those 3 too.
Let's go Ford here. I agree. Like Ford, he's getting expensive, but has he stopped rising yet? That's the thing. Is he going to continue to rise in OTAs in preseason when this team? Is there a chance they bring back Hunt?
No.
Is there any chance in hell?
He's gone. Browns even said that they think Hunt has completely lost his step, his speed. He's not the same Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they would know best, right?
Well, yeah, the teams they're done with him just due to injuries as well.
It's so funny because at the beginning of last year, the Browns were like so hyped about having him. They're like, this guy is still Kareem Hunt. He's still the same Kareem Hunt. Now we're fast forward to now. They're like, he is not the same Kareem Hunt.
Every year too for redraft, he was one of the most disrespected players going back like 2, 3 years, 4 years. He was just a flex guy every single year playing behind Chubb, and he would go in that like 120 range, just outright disrespected every year. But yeah, definitely someone that's hit a cliff. Ben says, grabbed Hawkinson and Pitts, both about 10 picks after ADP in a draft today. Egregious. I don't like going double tight end in that range, but if you're getting them both at over 10 picks in ADP, I could be fine with that for capital stopping there.
Now, can I twist your arm on drafting some JR this stream? Or you have too much KC?
Let's see. We have running back.
We only have 2 of them.
3.
3 with Jarek, right?
Yeah. That's probably where I stop. I think you start to lose upside when you go 4, just because are all 4 of them going to spike week 17, or are you just basically losing?
But I mean, it could be insurance. Like if MVS sucks and JR makes it into the lineups, and he's cheap.
With KC, how inexpensive the pass catchers are, and even the running backs, I don't think it's really an advantage for advance rates. Like if Justin Ross does have that big game, like is he going to be able to push on like an MVS or a Kadarius Toney? If Kadarius Toney busts, like a team can very easily still move on just because his capital is not high, you know?
Yeah.
Joey asks, how do you guys feel about Khalil Herbert? I have 42% of him through 59 drafts. That's a hot take. I don't love him. I don't hate him. He's an explosive running back, but they add another running back in the NFL draft. They bring in who? Dearness Johnson?
No.
Foreman.
Roshan. Talking about Roshan Johnson?
They bring in Foreman and Roshan Johnson.
Right. Yeah, Foreman was brought in, but not via draft.
Right. So Foreman might be stealing some red zone carries on the 1, sort of playing like the Jamal Williams role.
But everybody's saying Roshan Johnson's going to be RB1 by the end of the year.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert, he's 5'9", like 211. He's not really a 3-down back. And when they tried using him as that last year, when they kind of they faded off Montgomery.
And he's young, so
Herbert got injured.
why draft a high-profile guy, even though he wasn't the starter at Texas, but he was, really good? Why bring in a guy if, Herbert's young and you think they are thinking about the future? It's, interesting.
Don't forget, Travis Homer is a Bear. Everyone drop a like for that comment. The Candyman coming in here with
honestly,
nothing but facts.
Justin Fields might be RB1 for the Bears.
Yes, it's so true. It's so true. I'm cool with sprinkling Herbert, but in that range where Herbert goes, he's like my last pick. He's my last. Like I'd rather go Mitchell. I'd rather go Jerick McKinnon. But if there's no RBs left and I have one RB, maybe I'm sprinkling in Herbert there. Any other updates on Mechie? Do some quick research here. Not seeing anything. OTAs.
Another setback, keeping him off the field with Houston Texans.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not great.
Josh Downs actually faller right now.
Well, another injury guy.
I don't mind going Hardman here.
Yeah, I like Hardman. I've been taking
kind of a gadget guy.
Yeah, quite a bit.
We definitely need another running back.
Boy, you're gonna have to reach deep.
I think we can go last pick.
Yeah, last
pick.
If
there's someone here that you like at wide receiver, like Khalil Shakur.
Yeah, Shakur. And Josh Allen had some good news for him. Said he has 100% faith in him, whatever that means.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that came out yesterday, 2 days ago.
You got two guys in Hardman and him now that could just, they'll have spike weeks maybe. Hopefully get like one or two from both guys. And that's probably good enough.
Right. That's all you're looking for in the 17th round.
Yeah.
And I think with the Cleveland news that Hopkins is drawing to Cleveland, I think now I'm back on drafting Shakir in this range.
Take teams on good offenses. Take players on good offenses. So, like guys on the Bills, like they throw the ball a lot. So they have a good quarterback.
It's not rocket surgery. Yeah.
Right.
Some of these teams are dead. Like I'm looking at builds, and some of these teams are dead. Like didn't put enough draft capital in wide receiver, like 100%.
Somebody's got to pay the rake. Unfortunately.
Multiple people every draft. Let's see. 3-4-7-3 build.
Oh boy.
Probably didn't need Ritter. Definitely didn't need Ritter.
Oh no.
Definitely didn't need Mayer.
No. See, this
is gross.
That's a mistake when you draft capital in your quarterback and your tight end like that. You don't need three of them in the position.
Yeah, it's the whole reason why you don't draft three.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way too much. That's honestly, like you said, it's one of the biggest mistakes is roster allocation, draft capital, just balancing your teams, making sure you have enough upside, enough touches, enough carries, all that. Comfortable just stopping at 2 tight ends here, right?
Yeah,
I'm completely cool with these two.
I like those 2 tight ends a lot.
And I think at the end here where you go running back, yes, 50, 60, 70, 75% of these guys are going to miss. But these players do have the highest upside, in my opinion, when you're sprinkling in players like Kelly, Malik Davis even.
I like Ingram if you're got like Philadelphia players, like because the Arizona stacks during playoffs. And I think he's a guy where Cardinals could just be a disaster and they may not want to use Connor towards the end of the season. And this guy may just be like getting dump off passes all game.
Yeah, it's a good chance. There's a good chance they're a disaster.
And Eagles, that defense, you're not running on them probably. And you're probably not doing a good job running on them because they're so like stout up front. So you may need a guy that can just go out and catch some dump off passes and some balls.
Right. And he's a sneaky draft winner, sneaky free agency winner where they don't really add anybody. They don't add
Yeah.
any competition.
Yeah.
James
I
Conner
like him.
has
I
had
think he's a
injury
great pick.
history.
I think he's a great pick behind Connor. I think he's got a good path.
You convinced ER7 into taking him.
Did he ever? Wow.
we were only hyping him up for the correlation.
Well, why don't we just can you just take all this off the queue and I'll just give you a player and I'll just pitch it to you?
Yes.
Okay. I have a sneaky
I'll
play.
close my eyes. Let me close my eyes.
Sure. It's a
Sell it.
sneaky play and it's based on news that just dropped today about a certain team, right?
Ooh.
And what if this one player is behind the speculation? What does it mean? Somebody's got to step up. And there's a couple of those guys that it could be, but I'll just give you two of the names that I think probably benefit, and then you just pick one of the two.
All right. So is that the full pitch?
Pretty much.
I'm thirsty for it now.
So
I can't wait to go over Brian's team at the end.
Three guys. So once they pick, I think it's either obviously Zach Moss or Evan Hull. What if JT is somehow getting suspended for alleged sports gambling, and now who takes over carries? Zach Moss did when he was out, but Evan Hull is the gadget guy. So,
dude, as long as it's not Alec Pierce being suspended for gambling, I don't care who it is on Indy.
No, I mean JT could also get hurt, so one of these guys could also just step up due to that. But Evan Hull, if he's healthy, I think. But Zach Moss is another guy that is technically RB2 on that depth chart, and he looked like he was able to, do a pretty good job with JT being out in the games that he played.
I'd rather go Moss over Hull in half point PPR for touchdown upside.
Okay.
Hull probably the third down guy.
This is one of these guys you take a shot on a team, and if God forbid JT goes down or misses time, Zach Moss might step up and get some games for you.
I love that. I love the take. Let's quickly go over these teams. I like to go QBs, tight ends, because you can see the obvious mistakes there first. Humble legend in the chat. If you guys haven't already, drop a like on the live stream. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you can jump in these live drafts with us and just come take the rake. Lamar Jackson, Kenny Pickett, and Sam Howell. I'm definitely cool with these three.
But that's fine.
Do you think you didn't like the Howell pick, or if
maybe
it's correlated,
Howell
it's fine?
He had Pickett late, and he just was worried about Pickett stock, so he just wants to have someone. But when you have Lamar, I don't see the need for it, right?
No, I don't see the need for it either. I think Pickett is actually a good QB to bet on late too, to pair with Lamar. I think that's a really nice pairing.
Yeah, so I don't think Howell is needed, but let's see where he could have maybe allocated that one roster spot.
Freiermuth and Likely, I'd probably already rather it be a tight end. Yeah, I'd already rather it be a tight end. Gibbs, Cook, Harris, Rashawn Johnson, Tyler Algier, Gus Edwards. I'm fine with the group as a whole.
What do you think about him stacking two Buffalo guys?
I'm fine with that. I think one could have one big week and maybe the next one can go off the next. Okay. I don't mind Buffalo's backfield. There's a few backfields I don't mind getting. Hopefully both guys.
Dalvin doesn't go to Buffalo because then his team's cooked. But
done. Yeah, no pun intended. If Dalvin goes to Buffalo, you're cooked. And his brother is there, so there might be some interest in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Diggs, Smith, Pittman, Godwin, Bateman, Flowers, and Shaheed. Really strong. Really strong. Probably didn't need Shaheed. Could have stopped. Oh, no. Seven's enough. But could you stop at 6? I like Shaheed. I like the pick. Like Shaheed makes a lot of sense as a
just think guy. You just change Howell to a tight end and your team's great.
I agree. Now this draft from Brian is so good. This is nuts.
Oh,
so he does end up getting Goff. He gets Kyler at 176, a little upside, and he does bring in Purdy with the San Fran double. I love
you needed 2 anyway. They have bye weeks, so you need 3 regardless.
You need him for week 9. Andrews and McBride, I think that's perfect. 10 picks after ADP on Andrews. Nice.
Yeah, this is a
Pacheco.
Yeah.
10 picks after ADP on Pacheco. Charbonnet. Brian Robinson at a value. Brings in Jalen Warren, which I like for this squad as well. Kendry Miller, 18 picks after ADP. And Mostert.
Who was letting him get away with this in this draft room?
Just everybody in the middle of the draft.
Murder.
Everyone in the middle of the draft. It's because these teams went like 5 early running backs.
But he's stuck in the middle. Even the guys at the end should have been like scooping some of these guys up.
Nuts.
Sometimes
AJ Brown. The values start off early with Amon-Ra at 17, Debo, JSN, Ayuk, 4 picks after Dotson and Marvin Jones. Really, really nice team from Brian.
Nicely correlated.
If Kyler can find his legs after, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, even better. But team's not dead if Kyler doesn't even play this season. ER7 with Dak and Aaron Rodgers.
Oops.
Knox and Conklin.
Bye week problems.
Does it make him unique? 10 picks before ADP. That's sort of where I max out. I know ER7 either from Dallas or very heavy on the Dallas stacks. I know. And I am too with the cake matchup against Detroit. Like I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
A game that I'm heavily targeting. Give me any piece of it. ETN at 40, still sort of falling too. I think he needs to fall further. Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook.
I do like ETN though. I think he's fine. I think people are playing way too much into this whole narrative with him
but it showed last year. It showed he did not get the targets.
Yeah, but
he did not
this
get
is
the targets.
Such like a young, and this offense is going to, if anything, like be better. I think this year. I mean, Lawrence takes a step forward. You bring in Ridley now. I mean, I just think he's going to be fine.
But does Ridley get him more targets? I think Trevor Lawrence already sort of took that.
More targets, but if he's on a good offense and they're on the field, he should be fine. I mean, I don't think Tank Bigsby is going to really take away from him on the ground.
Yeah, there's only so much workload you can give Travis Etienne.
Right.
I think what sucked is when Etienne would leave the game and Hasty would come out. Hasty would instantly get like 3 targets on that drive. And it's like, what is happening? Etienne comes out of the game and all of a sudden they throw the running back.
There's a little bit of bias, I guess.
Yeah, fair. Aaron Jones, I like the Jones pick. Cook, 11 picks before ADP. That's a hot stance right there. Khalil Herbert, Carter, and Ingram. You sold them on.
I guess he's hoping Cook goes to Dallas, maybe.
Okay, that makes sense. Lamb, Waddle, Ridley, Cooks, Lazard, Pierce, Osborne, Tyquan Thornton. Maybe didn't need.
A lot.
I don't think he needed Thornton. I'd probably add a 3rd tight end personally.
Yeah, or even Ingram. I mean, you could have got rid of the 6th running back and added a tight end instead.
I agree.
Maybe.
I agree.
Like you basically have 3 good running backs to start the build.
But wide receivers super strong. RBs are balanced. QBs, besides the bye weeks, I think they're balanced enough. And then tight ends, I think you might be losing points there, but maybe not. Maybe they both have good weeks offsetting. Farachi in the 11 spot, Herbert and Staffy. I'm cool with these two. Staffy 19 picks after feels good. Njoku and Henry, I like this pairing as well. Now, if Hopkins ends up in Cleveland, like I don't love Njoku at his price.
No,
if he doesn't go to Cleveland though, like I have Njoku ahead of Ingram. Eckler, Penny, Jamal Williams, Singletary, Chuba Hubbard, and Zach Evans. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with this group. Headlined by Eckler, and then Penny's probably one of the highest upside guys on Philly's O-line. Just really good rushing attack. They're not really a team that dumps off the ball to running backs, and Penny's not that guy anyways. But what do you think about this group? Good enough?
It's a good hero RB build. Like I was saying before, Jamal Williams, he's a guy hopefully that will pick up some of the workload in the beginning portions of the season, and then carry your team enough maybe to get into playoffs. And you got Eckler now, and all you need is now you just need 1, 2, 3, 5 guys. One of those 5 guys to pop off in the playoffs for you every other week.
Exactly.
Zach Evans is interesting because I don't like Cam Akers. Like I think he's so volatile, and like I don't trust him to hold his job. And I think Zach Evans could take it from him. Honestly, I don't think it's like out of the realm of possibilities.
Damn. I like Zach Evans too. I think he can make some explosive plays as well. And obviously, like you said, like the team, they sent Akers home for 2 weeks. So Wilson, Hopkins, Allen. Yeah, this is a solid group. So definitely good draft by Faraci. Well balanced.
Yeah, good amount of rookie receivers, right? 1, 2, 3, 3 guys. Oh, no, 3. That's
3 guys. Yeah, I think it's fine in a 8 wide receiver group. Keenan Allen provides a good floor. Gabe Davis 8 picks after. Some really nice values for
Marquise Brown is like I'm moving him up my boards, in my opinion. Now that D-Hop's out of town, like
big time.
His offense sucks, but I mean you gotta throw the ball to somebody, right?
He goes at 62. I have him ahead of Michael Pittman. Like I have him in this range in my mind.
Wow. No, I haven't moved him up yet that high, but I've been moving above.
That's only 7.
I've been basically moving him up Evans. Evans, Ayuk, those guys, ADP wise. I haven't moved him up over Pittman yet.
I think I like Ayuk better than Michael Pittman this year. So maybe that's where my mind. Yeah.
Well, you are a Pierce believer, so I mean you have to believe that Pittman sucks, I guess.
It's more the rookie QB, and I'd just rather the guy that goes later sort of thing. Value and best ball, deep shot guy. But guys, if you made it this far, we appreciate you. NF42. Nick, you have anything to say to the crowd before we dip?
I think we had a solid draft. If somehow your team does make some money, I mean, you didn't make me sign a contract, but I was here. I think I deserve like at least like a trip to Hawaii, or like you got to send me to somewhere in the world.
Easy, dude. Easy. Your flight is booked when we win the $3 million here.
Like we got to go to Italy or somewhere.
Hell yeah.
This is a small donation.
Yeah, easy. Let's call it 5. Let's call it 5 spot, 5 G's. Thanks for coming on, my man. And I'll definitely see you in the Discord for the chatter. Hope the pick'ems go well tonight.
Alrighty, dude. Thanks for having me.
Pounders. Till next time.